Talk some European football. Graham Hunter is with us. Graham, we were talking about Dermot Corrigan's piece in the Examiner today. He was pointing out that we might have a £120 million sub tonight because the performance of the weekend wasn't that good when Las Cuatros Fantásticos all started.
Who's Dermot talking about? And by the way, Dermot, what a fantastic writer. What is that about Ireland? What's in the water or the Guinness or the tea that produces such a swathe of fantastic sports journalism? Something I should have said before. I did say on the big interview with Pat Nevin, we both agreed that it's extraordinary. Dermot's a very good export. He's talking about Dembélé, right?
No, he thinks Dembélé is going to start tonight.
Listen. If you want to say the Cuatro Fantásticos, this is a far more advanced breakfast sports show than that, because if you just say, well, Valverde decided to put the four big players on, that's not the right way to look at it. It makes a good headline, and they did all play, and it is how the Spanish media talk about it. But what he decided to do was play 4-2-3-1, something that he's dabbled with now and again. When he changed halfway through the Inter game at home, it completely changed how Barcelona performed. There is massive evidence, I think, that 4-2-3-1, when properly executed and possibly without Busquets in the team, which they haven't been able to cope with thus far, and Valverde is clearly, if you take Dermot's point and use the compass and swivel at 180 degrees, as much as Valverde may see Griezmann with massive amount of development to come, and he may be frustrated as all hell, poor old Valverde's head will turn up like mine if he tears all his hair out watching Dembélé fail to do completely do infantile things and fail to control the ball and put his team in difficulty and give away goals because of it. What he did was he changed the structure, and that allowed those four players to perform together. But he didn't go, God, I have to have all four of them on. He changed the structure because Barcelona are looking rocky away from home at 4-3-3. Busquets is a real problem, partly because of what's going on around him, partly because he's not all that athletic, and partly because even though Busquets is a monster of a player, his confidence, his belief in what's happening around him has eroded, and that's the problem. That's the key problem. When they all played together, was Griezmann particularly impressive? No. Was he pissed off when he got substituted? Yes. Was he worse than Dembélé, who stayed on the pitch? No. And that coming from somebody who's a Dembélé fan. Dermot might be right. It might be that Griezmann's on the bench. And I would have thought, if you look at how Dortmund play, if you look at the pace of their work, if you look at the fact that Griezmann can be used to be the first shackle on Jadon Sancho, and if you imagine that Dembélé is an awful tracker back, failed to hold the ball up and helped to give away the goal at Lega this weekend, I'd be a little bit surprised, but not massively surprised, that when it comes down to it, I think the 11 almost picks itself. It's a defence that you won't be able to believe because of suspensions and injuries, lads. But it would be a risky thing to say to Dembélé, you've earned a start against Dortmund in an absolutely crucial match, because if they draw or lose this match, they go to Inter needing to win to make sure they don't go out of the group. So if Dembélé starts on the open spaces of the Camp Nou and has a blinder, fair play. And I'm not disagreeing with Dermot. I'm rather applying my own logic that I think Griezmann, in given how hard he works and given the fact that they have to make him contribute more than he is, whereas Dembélé is literally just giving exactly the same sort of stuff every 2 or 3 matches, a mixture of absolute blinding brilliance and nonsense. I think Griezmann starts, and were it I, and you know me to be a cavalier person, who you might imagine I'd be saying, get Dembélé on, turn them, run them, make sure they're stretched, frighten them, make sure Dortmund commit bookable challenges, which is what Dembélé draws. Tonight, I still think I would start Griezmann.
We were talking earlier about Messi's 700th game tonight, 612 goals so far, and still a residual unhappiness with the fact that Neymar wasn't ultimately what they ended up getting last summer. Is there a residual distaste in Messi's mouth about that? Is there a sense that this might be coming to an end at the moment, or is this just mid-season, things aren't great at the minute, it'll all fix itself in 5 or 6 weeks?
I think you're flushing out the fact that France football claimed to have got hold of a a text communication between Neymar and Messi. Well, how did they do that? I'm not sure. I won't decry other journalists' work if they claim it to be true. I just don't know if it's true. And in that text communication, which happened immediately after Anfield, Messi was supposed to have said, I've got maximum 2 more seasons here. I need you. I can't win the Champions League without you. Blah, blah, blah. I've interviewed Messi 23, 24 times, short, medium, and long form. I've watched him since before he debuted in the first team, in fact. I've chatted to his family occasionally. I've chatted to the people that work in his entourage. It's not the way that Messi functions, Ger. I think it's both a good and entertaining story for we chroniclers of football to write. And if mid-season they find themselves knocked out of the Champions League, which I've said arithmetically can still happen if they don't make a big performance tonight, and if they find Madrid pulling away from them, and I have Madrid as my favourites for the title, irrespective of Barcelona being top of La Liga today, then would he return to the situation? Why didn't you get Neymar when you were supposed to? Why did you buy Griezmann instead of Neymar? Why didn't you listen to me? It's so unfair. Maybe he might come back to that. Right now, we're talking about a footballer who's constructed the way as our makers created great white sharks. They're on the planet for a purpose. Theirs is to swim and eat, and Messi's equivalent is to swim and eat, to turn up to play to win, He doesn't dilly-dally with a lot of that nonsense about woe is me, or why did... Neymar hasn't contributed significantly to Paris Saint-Germain so far this season. Had they bought him and the same physical condition occurred to Neymar, then right now we'd be sitting saying, what the hell did he spend all that extra money on Neymar for, etc., etc. I was at Real Madrid last night. Neymar came on and transformed them without necessarily being one of his 10 out of 10 matches. I see why Messi's obsessed by Neymar. I see why he urged the club to try and sign him. Did the club try hard enough? Does he believe they tried hard enough? You might be right, Ger. Is he sitting with sucking his thumb and with a petted lip? Absolutely no question. He's not. And you asked about, is it coming to the end? It's too big a subject for this morning in a short space of time. But I imagine that if that text communication was accurately reported, his mood after Anfield and his mood today could conceivably be 2 different things.
A quick point. You mentioned Real Madrid last night. They're playing really good football at the minute. They look good to watch. They look like they've got a purpose. They look like their identity is fairly well set.
For some weeks now, and I want to exclude the 1-0 defeat at Mallorca, where he turned the team around incorrectly because of the importance of the upcoming match in Istanbul. For some weeks now, I've been thrilled to watch them. They press, they win, they scrabble, they rake the ball off teams. They're working in pockets of 2s, 3s, and 4s to win the ball back, and the transition of what they do with the ball then is almost unerringly smart, not just quick, but clever. There are footballers, Zidane's footballers, who individually are reaching 8 or 9 out of 10 performances at the moment. Didn't play last night, Mondi, but Mondi looks better than Marcelo, and that's saying something. Courtois, halfway through this part of the season, looked lost, was being booed. Currently is a rock. Benzema, best form of his career. You could go across things, but what was interesting to me last night, 2 things, plus minus. One, Zidane picked Isco, who he's not been fond of in recent months. It was Isco's first start since last December. He'd started 2 games in La Liga this season, a draw against Valladolid at home and a defeat to Mallorca. So throwing Isco in, out of position, and getting a blinder of a performance out of him tells you something really important. Zidane, in his first spell, had this queue of players on the bench, ready and hungry to come on and impact. He's got the first team right. If the queue of players ready to come on and impact, then they're a threat in Europe and they'll win the title. The negative was his game reading has sometimes been, and I interviewed Tuchel at length last night, and Tuchel was pretty savage about his own team's performance, not happy. And the goals came late, that's a statistical fact. When Valverde went off, and Valverde is the key, Madrid looked less sure of themselves, allowed themselves to make more positional and concentration mistakes than they had when Valverde was on. And that I'm using this, Ger, because Valverde all season has been brilliant. If people don't know Fede Valverde, the Uruguayan youngster, who Zidane didn't rate in his first spell at Madrid, He's been exceptional. He's going to develop into an exceptional world-class midfielder. And when he went off, it's no coincidence, not directly, oh, look, that was Valverde's ball. But when he went off, Madrid changed and they lost 2 goals, the second of which was a brilliant finish from Sarabia, ex-Real Madrid. So, in summary, yes, you're right, which I could have said quickly, Real Madrid are damn good to watch. And last night was hell of a fun.
Graham, great stuff. Thanks for joining us this morning, man. Cheers.
See you, lads.